Alright, so this is going to be a short video on efficiency. Now, as a left-winger, I'm quite used to being called an idealist, a utopian, and being dismissed, having my ideas dismissed as just unrealistic, because I have goals that sound, I guess, lofty, and obviously the human building blocks that we are using to build this better society aren't perfect. But I think there's a big double standard when you call left-wingers idealists and utopians for wanting to incorporate things like justice and fairness and equality into the goals that we should set on a societal level. And I think those goals should trickle down as well to kind of the local level. My problem is that a lot of people, when they're making fun of lefties like me, will talk about things like efficiency, and somehow that ends the argument. So having a discussion about how we can have a more just outcome that's inefficient, we could just be working, and then apparently we would just be more productive, and so there'd be more for everyone anyways. The problem with this idea is, unless you're at the same time offering a very solid theory on what rules are in place to make sure that the things that we're working on so efficiently are actually for the greater good, then you're not really making a point. So just because we're being more productive does not mean that we're improving society. So there's obvious cases in history. If you have a warmonger that commits genocide, you want that person and his army to be as inefficient as possible. You also have biological analogies. So you don't really want a very efficient virus or a very efficient cancer. That will just kill you all the faster. In these cases, what you want is, you want that condition to be as inefficient as possible, and then you want the counteracting force to be as efficient as possible. So when people suggest that we don't really need to worry about the final goal, if we just put everything into efficiency and just move forward as quickly as possible, we'll get to a good place and there'll be plenty for everyone to share around. That is a point that needs a lot more backing up, because I contend that a lot of times we become very efficient at going down a dead end, or even at going down the path of progress the wrong way. And if you're running really fast the wrong direction, that's not a good thing. So what I think, it's the burden of proof on people that will champion efficiency above all else, is they will have to show how the system that they propose will in fact create outcomes that are for the greater good, according to the rules that they set. So if you have an economy or a workplace that does not have rules in place that you can demonstrate will have outcomes for the greater good, then I don't think it makes sense to give a long speech on how that workplace or economy should be more efficient. And in turn, I think the overhead of worrying about fairness, justice, and equality is worth it. It might make us less efficient, but if it means that we go into the right direction instead of the wrong direction, then I think that by definition that is a worthy endeavor. And in some cases, if we can't show that being efficient by doing this is for the greater good, then even standing still is better than being very efficient. So that's what I wanted to say for today. So I'm not providing any grand solutions here, and obviously achieving just outcomes, equitable outcomes, and also being at least somewhat efficient while doing it is a big problem in itself, and I'll probably go into more details on my thoughts on how to do that in other videos. But unless you tie your efficiency into how it achieves some greater good, I don't think that it really makes sense to promote the greater efficiency as a goal, because greater efficiency is not a goal in itself. Because this isn't a video game, we're not racking up score for every X units we produce. We're not going to enter the high score charts. This is real life, and so in the end what matters is, I think at least, is human happiness. So efficiency needs to be geared towards creating more human happiness, at least in the medium to long term. If it's not, then it's not going towards a good cause. We should take our efforts and we should invest them elsewhere. Even if doing all that thinking about where to invest them makes us less efficient, and even if the positive thing that we end up doing we can only do less efficiently, because at least it's a positive thing. So if you have any thoughts or any responses, please just leave a comment or a response video or drop me a PM. This is Church of STFU.